Look, home buyers have very large expenses when it comes to all the closing costs whenever they buy a house. But there is something I want to quickly discuss here, because they're going to get attacked by the government next, just like the realtors got attacked for being too expensive. This scam that I'm going to tell you about has been going on since the great financial crisis in 2008, and I think it was in 2010 that they changed this law. And it's basically the appraising industry, but it's not the appraisers themselves. It is the industry. And let me tell you how it changed and why it's kind of a ripoff at this point. So there's, what it used to be like before the great financial collapse was that there was some realtors and banks who would directly hire an appraisal. And they would call their appraiser and they'd say, hey, I got this contract, I need you to run an appraisal. How much do you charge? Client decides yes or no, and then they move forward. Well, unfortunately, what was happening is people were saying like, well, how much do you need it to come in at? And then they would make the numbers work for that realtor partner of theirs. And it caused some potential situations where people ended up getting appraisals that were higher than the actual valuation of the property, because the appraiser wanted to keep a good relationship with their realtor partners, right? Or their banking partners, because the bank maybe sent them a lot of deals, okay? So what happened was this got attacked, and I think it's possible that it was the Dodd-Frank Act when they made some revisions, and they basically said no more of that, okay? No more for federally regulated mortgages. We can't do that. What happened? Well, it's the AMCs, okay? This is the appraisal management companies. What do? Very simple. They were a layer between the client and the actual appraiser. They just needed a layer to take the liability off from this kind of manipulation. It's not steering, but it kind of has the same result. So here's what they did. The bank or the realtor would go and call an appraisal management company, an AMC, and then that AMC would go and bid out the job and hire the appraisal, right? So it seems like that would be such a good idea, but it ended up being a complete scam, and I just can't believe what's happening at this point, because our appraisal costs have skyrocketed from the moment that this got implemented. Let me explain. These appraisal companies, there's two wrongs happening here, okay? And they're so bad. So buyers, you're getting screwed, okay? And sellers, you're not necessarily, paying for it, but it's just a matter of time before you're a buyer and you pay for it. So here's what happens. The appraisal management company goes and into the computer system, they plug in, hey, this is the address, here's what we need done, just a regular appraisal for a FHA loan or whatever it is. And then people start bidding on it. Actual appraisers start bidding on it. Now those appraisers basically kind of, it's a race to the bottom. Who's going to be the cheapest person to go and do this appraisal? But the crappy part is that the client doesn't get to save that money. Let's just say someone's willing to do an appraisal for $210. Do you think the client is going to be paying, meaning the buyer is going to be paying $210? Heck no, that is not how it works. That client is going to be paying the full $595 or $695 or whatever they're paying for that appraisal. And yeah, they are the owner of that appraisal. However, who's getting the rest? And those would be the AMCs. The appraisal management companies are pocketing that money. Now, it's not always like that they keep 60% and the appraiser gets 40%. Sometimes it's 50-50. Sometimes the appraiser gets more. You know what it's really dependent on? How many people bid these jobs? Because if you're in an area where there's not many appraisers or no one's willing to touch a particular property because it's just a lot of work, well, cool. Then we know that they're probably not going to make a lot of money. Those AMCs are probably not going to make a lot of money. But all it does is it creates an inexperienced appraiser getting a whole bunch of work for bottom dollar. And if you ask me, that's not cool. And the reason that's not cool is because the more experienced you are in this industry, the less of a chance you're going to have to earn more money, because there's always going to be new people getting into the industry working for very little. So now if you want a really good appraiser, too bad, you're probably not going to get one. You have to pay independently. You have to hire it yourself. And guess what? That appraisal that you get can't be used for a federally regulated loan. Who's winning here? AMCs. That's literally the only company, or the only level of people who are actually winning from this. Are buyers winning because there's a layer between them and the appraiser? Not when they're being shopped as the cheapest option. They're not winning. Are the realtors winning? Definitely not, because, well, on this part, the realtors aren't winning, and I agree, they shouldn't be winning. The realtors shouldn't be able to hire the appraiser directly on someone who's going to actually, meet the number, as we can say, to, because that's shady, right? And then properties could get over inflated valuations. So realtors lose, but they should be losing in this situation. Okay. What about banks? Do banks win on this? Well, maybe a little bit. Banks get to protect their investment, and by investment I mean the loan dollar amount that they're lending. They get to protect that with a degree of separation between them making the decision to approve you and the appraiser is basically the one who's taken that liability, not the AMC. The appraiser is it's their valuation, it's their work that they're doing, right? I think that the Department of Justice, the DOJ, is probably going to come in and start cracking down on this thing that's been going on for 15 years and 16 years maybe. I'm not even sure exactly when it started, but I think they're going to crack down. It's really a little bit of a shame that the solution actually just created money for some big dogs. It didn't actually, help sellers, didn't help buyers. It's just a scam. Just a scam. Now, I think appraisers are needed. So I don't think there's anything wrong with appraisers. They're doing their best job. And they are pretty damn expensive, I will say that. A regular appraisal, if you just pay out of pocket, depending on what kind of appraisal, it could be $600-700. A rent schedule appraisal or a multifamily appraisal, which I not too long ago sold a 6-unit to somebody, and that was 100% rental. That appraisal cost like $2,500 or $3,000. That's crazy. I mean, that is so expensive. Be on the lookout for the DOJ addressing this scam that's going on. I'm pretty sure they're going to do it. It's probably going to take forever and drag out, just like the NAR lawsuit did. What do you think?